And as a side note, Matt and I both had toys from this movie.
Yes.
That boat was awesome. Hi, this is Randall here with No Market Media.
And I'm Matt. With the upcoming The Batman coming out, which has both the Penguin and Catwoman, we decided to look at another Batman movie with the Penguin and Catwoman. Today, Randall and I are reviewing Batman Returns from 1992.
Ooh.
It stars Michael Keaton, Michelle Pfeiffer, Danny DeVito, and Christopher Walken. It's directed by Tim Burton, also known for Beetlejuice, Edward Scissorhands, and the 1989 Batman movie. But before we go any further, if you like this review, be sure to give us a thumbs up. Also be sure to hit subscribe and ring that bell to be notified on our latest videos.
Batman Returns is the ever popular follow-up to the events of 1989's Batman, and it finds Bruce Wayne coming face to face with two new adversaries who are both willing to wreak havoc on Gotham City in order to extract their revenge on those who wronged them. Had a reportedly $80 million budget, but came out with a hefty $266 million box office return. It's well liked by critics and audiences. The character Bruce Wayne Batman, as portrayed by Michael Keaton, is set for appearances in the upcoming DC movies, The Flash and Batgirl.
Alright, Randall, when Batman Returns initially came out, this was a movie I was super excited to see. A little bit. I actually didn't realize how young I was when this movie came out. I thought it came out after 92. But, whatever. I was pretty young, but I was super excited for this movie to come out. Now, watch it now. There are quite a few things, themes and other stuff that the characters do in this movie that I pick up on that I did not notice watching it when I was younger. And I'll admit, even though I was so excited for this movie, and I really do enjoy this movie, it's been a while since I've seen it. So a lot of different things that I noticed and picked up on this movie that I didn't before.
So my biggest thing was that I remember it in my younger mind, and it's been a long time since I watched it too. Mm-hmm. But I remember it being a much better film. Now, again, we're going to talk about it, and I still enjoy the movie. Mm-hmm. But I just thought, for some reason, because it's acclaimed. The critics liked it, and it's the follow-up to Batman, which did better. It's more fun. It's got more villains. I thought it was a better movie than it really is as a movie. Now, that being said, there's still a lot of stuff in here that's enjoyable to like, especially from Batman fans. The character being what he was in 1989, and this being a sequel to that film, it kind of works out. The biggest thing, I remember the characters are very, very good. Mm-hmm. Like, the individual characters work very well, and there's amazing sets and special effects and costumes, and the Penguins, obviously.
Yep.
Stan Winston, of all people. Never heard that name before. All of that still pretty much holds up. Yep. I'm like, yep, this gothic depiction of Gotham that Tim Burton has and the creative people have is still really fun and interesting and different to watch.
Yep. And I think that's a big point, too. That's one point I would 100% go with you on, is the different feel on this. And it's, a Tim Burton Batman movie.
It's a Tim Burton Batman movie. So that being said, the story's all over the place. It's like, all right, we got Christopher Walken's, Shrek, who's actually not a comic character, who was made specifically for this film, doing his thing. We got the Penguin doing his thing. We got Catwoman doing his thing, and we got Bruce Wayne brooding? Okay, honestly, that's pretty accurate to Bruce Wayne / Batman, just doing his weird brooding thing. But, the story is weird. I guess the underflowing current is this, theme of revenge for all of these bad characters, getting back at people who have wronged them and whatnot, but the way it all comes together is kind of a mess.
To oversimplify the story, it's bad guys trying to do some bad stuff, and Batman's got to stop them. I mean, Really? I mean,
Yes.
that's kind of
Yes.
just really an oversimplified form, but that's kind of how I look at
What are
the
you
story.
waiting for? Turn the signal on.
Mm-hmm. A lot of it, I think, with the first like Batman, Tim Burton's first Batman, I think we did a lot more with like Batman, Bruce Wayne. This movie, I think, is really more focused on our villains and stuff. And to me, Batman's kind of just like, he's there. He does his bad stuff, and we have a couple winks and nods to like the last movie and
He
stuff
definitely
that
killed
happened
that
in the last
clown
one.
guy. But I'm not talking about the Joker. He puts a bomb on that guy.
Yes.
And puts him down a sewer drain or something, or culvert, and that guy blows up.
Yeah, which is kind of a little bit different. It's something I didn't notice as like a kid watching this movie, but then of course I've seen other people, bring it up because there's some things that some iterations Batman's like, well, Batman doesn't kill. There's other iterations like, well, yeah, Batman does kill. Tim Burton definitely took the like, yeah, Batman doesn't care if he kills the bad guys.
No, not really. He doesn't go out of his way, which is why it was always an interesting thing where, especially with everyone hating on Ben Affleck's Batman,
Mm-hmm.
like, oh, he's so violent and he doesn't care. He's he'll shoot a bad guy. I'm like, you guys all universally pretty much love the Tim Burton Batmans, and that Batman doesn't care. So I mean, that's part of the story, though. In this iteration,
mm-hmm.
Batman Returns, that's his character. He doesn't really care, and all these other characters that are doing the revenge things are so ruthless that he kind of needs to also be kind of not caring, ruthless. All right, so I think, as I already pointed out in like my retrospective, the characters are really what makes this movie shine for me.
100%.
I mean, there's the score by Danny Elfman's good,
mm-hmm.
the special effects by Stan Winston, and the makeup effects stuff good,
mm-hmm.
but the characters, I mean, they all give at one point or another a weird show-stopping performance, but there is nothing that comes close to Danny DeVito. Danny DeVito as the Penguin, putting like that like comic accuracy to it while still being like Tim Burton. It's got the duck, it's got the umbrellas and all of the comic chintz to the character,
mm-hmm.
and then just being a penguin boy.
Mm-hmm.
It's crazy. I love the characters in this film.
I do too. The villains for me specifically are what really shine. And what I like about this movie, I guess the characters going into kind of like the storytelling, is each of our villains tells us something about Batman or focus on an aspect of Batman. Like the Penguin, it's like, he lost his parents. Granted, different circumstances that Bruce Wayne did. But that's why we have a scene where like Bruce Wayne kind of feels sorry for the Penguin for a slight moment. It's like, I hope he finds that his parents and stuff. The smallest moment. But that tells us something about a person of like Bruce Wayne Batman. With Catwoman, it's that duality. This movie comes out and points at it, and that's what kind of draws Bruce Wayne to Selina Kyle and stuff. Selina Kyle, Catwoman, Bruce Wayne, Batman, there's that duality they're going on. And then, Max, he's kind of like, he's another businessman, which is kind of like that Bruce Wayne.
Yeah, he's the foil of Bruce Wayne, though.
Yes.
He's not the upstanding good citizen. He's the other.
Exactly. And that's the one thing, too, like, a lot of times we see, like, Batman be, like, the person that's doing everything of, like, the Bruce Wayne Batman character. But in this movie, we actually do see Bruce Wayne. Bruce Wayne's fighting against that, Max thing, like, this power plant you have, we don't need it kind of thing, like, I'm going to fight you on this. And then Max is like, I got a new mayor coming, and, that whole dynamic going. So, yeah, that's what I really liked about these character stuff. And like you said, they have show-shop seats, but Danny DeVito, oh my goodness. He really, like, dives into this Penguin character and does an excellent job.
Danny DeVito's performance in this is I mean, it's almost hard to believe that we're even going to try the Penguin again.
Mm-hmm.
And honestly, I think when I watch the trailers for the upcoming The Batman, that Colin Farrell's like depiction and all the makeup and all of like everything that goes into it,
mm-hmm.
I'm like, okay, they're still going with the Penguin crime lord storyline. I'm like, I hope it's okay, but it's never gonna be like that comic book Penguin.
Yep.
That's what Danny DeVito brought to this.
Yep.
He's like, all right, we're gonna do this, and we're gonna do it full in comic-y.
Yep.
You know, don't care if it's like comes off as B. Doesn't matter. And it works for the film. It works for the style.
Yep. Works for this film.
It works for this film.
All right, so kind of going on that too. You know, this is a superhero film, I guess say, but it's more specific. Like I said with like Beetlejuice, this is a Tim Burton film.
Yeah,
it definitely has a Tim Burton feel on it, and as you're saying, especially with like Danny DeVito as Penguin, Tim Burton goes full on. You know, like with these characters. You know, we aren't gonna make the Penguin. This tycoon that kind of looks like a penguin. No, we're going full we're going
weird penguin.
Yeah, we're gonna have with the teeth and stuff. He's gonna be eating fish like a penguin and stuff. We're gonna go full on with the penguin character.
And
like Catwoman too. Like Catwoman, like cleaning herself and everything. I never actually thought of Catwoman as a character. Having Selena Kyle die and be kind of like reborn as Catwoman. Tim Burton really does that. Like Catwoman is dead. Like Selena Kyle is dead. When she returns to her apartment, she's dead. Like that to me feels totally like a Tim Burton thing to have, like not quite zombie, but almost like have that going. Like we're literally going with 9 lives with this Catwoman character.
And when she comes back as Catwoman from Selena Kyle, she is a different person.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, all right, now we have this past life of Selena, but she's got unfinished business to take care of.
Mm-hmm.
Now, for genre aspects, I'm going to change. I don't think it's a superhero movie. I mean, it is a Tim Burton movie.
Yep.
Not going to argue that one bit. It's a comic book movie.
Yes.
And this feels like a comic book. It's just brought to a more serious, darker place than like the 1960s Batman series was with Adam West, which was all camp. It was like, all right, we're gonna go full in on all camp. This does camp, definitely, but it does it in a darker, more serious tone than just being for laughs.
Yep.
And it does it well. That's part of the thing that makes it a likable film. And why do I say it's not a superhero movie? Because there's nothing particularly superhero going on. The word is in the title, superhero.
Mm-hmm.
That doesn't happen here. There's nothing extraordinary happening. It's Bruce Wayne using his money, smarts, technology. Batman using his slightly awkward karate because the suit is so stiff. Like martial arts skills. I don't know if it's karate, but martial arts. There's nothing particularly super going on. But there's a lot of comic book callbacks. There's a lot of stuff that's like, if you're a comic book fan of Batman's, you're gonna understand this.
Yep. And I do like Batman with a kind of like that noir or whatever sense to it, or whatever. Because of course modern iterations we have like actual cities that we're in. Whether we're using like Chicago or Detroit or New York kind of thing as like the background. We're kind of do this. I do kind of like like the the old kind of like aesthetic kind of thing. It's one of those things where it's like, what time does Batman take place in?
Whenever you want.
It has kind of like modern technology, but then also has like that old feel to it. And I like that Tim Burton really embraced it. I mean, heck, Max, we said as a character built for that. Like that is totally a Tim Burton creation with like the white hair and the look and everything. Like when we have that first scene where we see Max and he has like the mayor and everyone else, like the mayor and everyone looks like they'd fit in like the now world kind of thing. And Max definitely sticks out as like a Tim Burton character.
The thing about it is like, especially Max, he's like the only real grounding force, and that's saying something. Like comic book movie, all these comic book characters, Batman, Penguin, and then Max. Mm-hmm. It's like, wow, he's the only normal-ish person in this entire film. That's saying something. 'Cause he ain't normal.
Yep.
It's hard to say I didn't see anything coming, because both of us have seen this movie a lot, especially young.
Mm-hmm.
Now, admittedly, we're looking at it older with fresh eyes, but I'm going to kind of look at it with a retrospective. I didn't see that coming. Max is not a comic book character. He was created specifically for this film, and as a character whose has no pre-established history with Batman, Bruce Wayne, anything. For him to just come out, and it helped. It is definitely helped by the fact that it's Christopher Walken. Not gonna deny that at all. He just puts down a show-stopping performance as this like sleazy, I'll do whatever it takes to get my business, without being a bad guy, without being a villain, you know, just trying to leave something for my son kind of character. I like that character, and if you don't know, if you're big into comics, you're big into the Batman, you're like, oh, who's this person? That doesn't matter. He comes across pretty good. He works in that universe.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. For me, I wouldn't say like didn't see coming. I guess stuff that I overlooked before and noticed. One, we already talked about, Batman killing, like you already mentioned it, the bomb scene or whatever, where he traps the bomb and throw. Yeah,
done.
That's somebody. Also, another thing I guess I kind of overlooked a bit. I knew a little bit of it, but not to the extent, is like how much of like a perv womanizer or whatever that the Penguin is.
Yeah.
Like straight up for like scenes like I remember the scenes with like
he's just
him
like,
and,
if you won't
Catwoman
sleep with me,
stuff.
I'll toss you off a building.
Yeah. Well, some of that stuff I remember, but
Whoa.
even what he was talking to of like the people that are supposed to help him run his like mayor campaign, and like he's distracted by his thoughts of horrible things he wants to do this one for like a longer period of time than I realized watching before. I'm like, wow,
that's awful. You're right. And there is one thing I'll add to my whole diatribe, basically, because it doesn't necessarily fit particularly in any of the other categories. But hey, we're at the end of this. You mentioned the artwork, the city and everything, and how it works really well as this Tim Burton film and feel, and it's different. I will say it's a little disappointing by modern standards because it's the scope. The scope of it is so small. It's like you have this big, lighting the Christmas tree scene at the beginning, and there's like 100 people there. Like, this is Gotham City. It doesn't feel big. It doesn't feel on par at all with like modern movies, with comic book movies, superhero movies at all. The scope is way off.
I would say for that, watch like Batman the Animated Series, because that came like right after this.
Yeah,
it has like
Gotham's
the same look.
Really big.
Yep, and does give you that scale. Yes.
So didn't fit anywhere else, but it's gonna slide right in here.
So, still an enjoyable movie. As you said, I agree with, not a movie that I quite like as much as I did when I was a kid and stuff, having rewatched and stuff. But it's still an enjoyable film, and because of Tim Burton style, and as, like you mentioned too, something different for like Batman from like some of the other ones, like what we got now, and from like the Adam West Batman. I enjoy the movie for that, because it is, a different take or whatever on some of the other ones that we have on Batman.
When Batman Begins came out, the ultra realism was a good break from the Tim Burton and Joel Schumacher Batmans.
Yep.
It was like, oh, finally a fresh take. Well, really, if now we're used to that. This is the way Batman is. Is that fresh take, this more gritty, realistic take on Batman. You watch Batman or Batman Returns or even Batman Forever, and you're just like, now that's kind of refreshing to go back to. But for once, the biggest thing about me, my biggest takeaway is that for once, nostalgia didn't like carry me through a film. I was just like, there's parts of this that I enjoy, and they're okay. The characters are good, and I enjoy some of the scenes with the characters. In comparison to like modern superhero movies, like the MCU and even some of the DC stuff, it's kind of a letdown, but it's different, and I enjoy it for being different. So you're not going to get a film like this made nowadays, period. I mean, even Tim Burton stuff isn't like Tim Burton stuff of old. So it's fun from that.
Randall and I, we want to know what you guys think about Batman Returns. Let us know in the comments down below. Also, be sure to check out some of our other reviews. We have other flashback movie reviews. Take a look at new movies, TV shows, and we have deeper dive discussions.
We also have a Facebook page. Make sure to go check us out over there if you haven't already. We post the day before on Facebook what's coming up next. If you don't have Facebook, don't worry about it. Put us on your calendars. New videos every Monday and Thursday. And as a side note, Matt and I both had toys from this movie.
Yes.
That boat was awesome. I'm Randall with No Market Media. See everyone next time.
And now I'm Matt. Have a good day, everyone. Next time on No Market Media. Please consider checking out some of our other videos.